Our keynote speaker's life story has been called a Sports Cinderella by many. She intends to shed more light, and by sharing her personal story from being an orphan to becoming a real 2016 Paralympic hopeful. In a couple of minutes' time, I would say, we're going to be just showing you a video presentation. This is all about Miss Scott Bassett. Ladies and gentlemen, feast your eyes on the screen.
My name is Scout Bassett, and I am currently in my first year at UCLA. School is amazing in so many ways. The academics are harder in the sense that there's less room for mistakes. I guess the thing that I love most about college is the people that I get to interact with and to hang out with and be with. That makes the experience so much more fun. I was born in Nanjing, China, and when I was less than 1 year old, I lost my leg in a liquid fire. And then shortly after I lost my leg, I was placed on the streets in front of the government orphanage. During the 7 years that I was there, I went through some unbelievably painful hardships. I never remember going outside once in 7 years. We lived a very sheltered and isolated life in the orphanage.
We tried having children of our own, which we were having a difficult time at. So we called Bethany Christian Services, adoption agency in Michigan, and 9 months later we were in China. We asked for a newborn, and we were assigned a 16-month-old baby. And they said, well, let's go further to another room, to the 5 to 10-year-olds.
We came into this room with about 22 kids sitting around a table eating a snack, and this little guy stood up and sang us a song.
And then I just happened to look down to my right, and I saw this little girl look up at me, and I said, oh my gosh, she needs me. I've just got to have her. I said to my husband, we have to get that girl. And he said, we have to get that boy. I wasn't even expecting to go over there to adopt more children. It was just after Palmer, the one it was assigned to us, and we didn't have the money. We'd saved the money for Palmer, so we Visa and MasterCarded our way back to China 10 months later, which is how long it took us to do all the immigration paperwork. And then I didn't know she was missing a leg, because she was sitting, as you can see, at a table eating a cracker. And I said, well, gosh, that's all the more reason she needs me. We're just going to go get her.
When I was younger, I did wish, and I even prayed at times to have look normal, look like a typical American, and have two capable, very able legs. In 2003, I got my first grant from the Challenged Athletes Foundation, and they invited me to come to their annual San Diego Triathlon Challenge. And so I came out that fall, and it's one of the defining moments of my life.
I remember we went out to dinner the first night, and she said, Mom, I finally feel like I belong somewhere.
It was that moment that I realized that I was going to be okay in life, that I saw all these other challenge athletes competing and capable of running and biking and swimming, and I thought, you know, I'm going to be able to do this too.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Hopefully by 2012 I'll be able to go to the Paralympics in London, and you know, do I dare say one day maybe an Ironman? I don't know. I'm not always first, And it's not about winning, but it's about being active, it's about being alive, and to show the world. Just because you have a disability doesn't mean that you're not capable of doing things that a normal able-bodied person is able to do. This event is benefiting the Challenged Athletes Foundation. We help people all over the country and the world who are physically challenged to compete in athletics, and without your support, we couldn't make that happen. So thank you so very much for coming. I hope my involvement with the Challenged Athletes Foundation will help to bring awareness for people that are physically challenged. And I hope to encourage other people to not allow anything to stop them from achieving whatever goals or dreams that they have.
Good morning. It is an absolute honor and a pleasure to be with you all today. Thank you so very much for having me. This is my first trip to Singapore, and I'm absolutely blown away by the hospitality and the beauty here. Even the rain has been quite lovely. I live in Southern California. We're actually going through a major drought right now, so if you all want to send that rain over, we'd greatly appreciate it. Today, I want to illustrate the power of sport and how it changes lives by sharing with you my personal story from orphan to Rio 2016 Paralympic hopeful. Sorry, I don't know. Having a little, okay. I come from extremely humble beginnings. As you saw in the video, I was an infant when I lost my right leg in a fire that happened in China. Shortly after this incident, I was abandoned on the street and later found. I was then taken to the government orphanage where I lived for 7 years. During my time at the Nanjing Children's Welfare Institute, I endured some really difficult hardships, such as child labor, abuse, and starvation. In fact, I never went outside once in 7 years, and this led to an extremely isolating life. We had no access to television, books, radio, music, absolutely nothing. When I wasn't with the other orphans, I spent my time doing manual chores such as folding laundry, washing the dishes, and cleaning the floors. Ironically, I wasn't discontent with my reality because I didn't know anything else. During my time in the orphanage, I never thought that my fate would ever change. I had no hope for a promising future. I just wanted to live another day with a roof over my head. But an unbelievable miracle happened in 1995 when I was adopted by an American couple. The process of being adopted and leaving behind my home and the only thing I ever knew was both heartbreaking and traumatic. Sorry. During this, I arrived in the States speaking not a word of English and weighing all of 22 pounds at 7 years old. And as you can see, not a whole lot has physically changed since then. As you can imagine, the acculturation process and the transition here was extremely agonizing and painful. Everything I experienced and saw was foreign and absolutely terrifying. I was raised in a town of 1,600 people where I was the only amputee and Asian in my entire region. Kids looked at me as if I was a complete alien. They were not shy about their comments about my physical appearance, nor were they inclusive of me. Even adults stared as to cast some sort of judgment on how I looked. I struggled mightily to fit in, to know my identity, and to find my worth. A childhood of largely exclusionary experiences left me deflated and discouraged about my future. I grew up paralyzed by fear and painfully shy. I grew up sitting on the sidelines, being told that I wasn't good enough to be in the game. I grew up hearing that my dreams were unattainable. I grew up embarrassed to be an amputee and ashamed of the events that transpired before and after my orphanage years. You may hear 1,000 no's, but it only takes one yes to change your life. At 14 years old, I got my yes when I received a grant for an OSER running prosthetic, and I ran for the first time in my life. This single piece of equipment changed the direction of my future. I had hope for a future, and I found my purpose. Running became a healing power and transformed me from a painfully timid recluse to a young woman who found the courage and the strength to beat all the odds. I vowed to myself that I would never be ashamed of my story, and from that moment on, I set out to run down every dream and conquer every fear. Today, I know this to be true. Our indomitable will to survive is innate, while the ability to persevere and triumph is learned. Over the past 13 years, my athletic journey has taken many twists and turns. I've endured countless setbacks on and off the track. I've made sacrifices that I didn't want to make. And I've struggled in ways that I never could have imagined. But I've also experienced the joy and the rewards of relentless hard work, including the achievement of a world record, 2 American records, and competing at 2 IPC Athletics World Championships. The confidence and lessons that I gained in sport helped me to earn a full academic scholarship to UCLA in 2007. Almost 4 years ago, I was absolutely devastated and heartbroken when I went to the 2012 Paralympic Trials and I didn't qualify for that team. My life dream was shattered and felt a million miles out of reach. I wasn't sure that I would ever compete again, but I've learned that failure and disappointment can either break you or it has the power to push you forward. I'm currently on a mission to qualify for my first Paralympic Games next year in Rio, and I have no doubt that my training and my preparation will lead to that outcome. As we prepare to welcome 3,000 athletes from 11 countries this week competing in 15 sports, let us be motivated and encouraged by the performances we witness and the stories we hear to continue our mission of providing sport for all. Without the use of running prosthetics and the support of my team, I would not be able to do what I love. As with most places, we in the US face the same challenges of making adaptive sports equipment both accessible and affordable for all. But access to this equipment should not be a luxury. It is a necessity to one's physical, mental, and emotional health. I'm humbled to not only share my story today with you, but I'm also incredibly proud to represent OSER, a company that has been a pioneer in helping amputees to regain their life and pursue their athletic dreams by providing the world's highest performing sports prosthetics. We've made enormous progress in the past 20 years, but there's so much more we've got to do. We need to continue to partner with existing organizations, national governing bodies, and commercial partners to get more athletes to the starting line. You are the solution. Big or small, each one of us has the ability to make valuable contributions towards this movement of ensuring sport without boundaries. Too many kids and adults will not be able to have the opportunity to experience the healing power of sport. And this inequity should ignite us all to change the game. But more importantly, we must continue to fight for their human rights to be seen as valuable and important members of our larger global family. Let us demonstrate that unity, courage, resilience, and love can transform the way the world sees individuals with disabilities, not as lesser than, but as equal and powerful beyond measure.